Have you ever wondered if there's a relationship between someone's family structure and delinquent behavior? For example, you may have heard that youths who have a single parent home may be more likely to commit delinquency than youths from a two parent home. Have you ever wondered if it's possible to empirically examine such claims? In this project, you will analyze data from Wave 1 of the public use version of the National Longitudinal Survey of Adolescent to Adult Health, AdHealth. The data pre-selected for you include 9 variables, which measure various forms of delinquency, and 2 variables, which measure family structure. By manipulating these data, we should be able to learn if there's a relationship between family structure and delinquent behavior. It is very important that this first assignment be completed on time and correctly, as the next 2 assignments use it as a foundation for additional investigation into this idea. The main learning objectives of this assignment are experience working with data, understand how data is organized, understand how to manipulate data to answer questions, understand what an index is and how it's constructed, apply critical thinking skills to interpret what the data is showing. I've decided to record this portion of the assignment introduction so that you may review it as often as you need to. Of course, feel free to ask questions in class, email me, or visit me during my office hours as well. As a real quick aside here, I just wanted to go back and explain how to get to Excel if you don't have Excel on your computer. Maybe you have a Chromebook or something like that. If you log into your university webmail and then you click on this, they call it the waffle. If you click on this waffle and then you click on Excel, it'll open up Excel, and then you can find in your OneDrive where the file is saved, and then you can go ahead and open that file. Now let's begin looking at the data. As you can see, the data are organized in an Excel spreadsheet into columns and rows. Each column is a question that was asked in the survey. Each row is an individual who responded to the survey. Each cell is the answer 1, yes, or 0, no, to the question asked in that column. For example, column A's question asked, in the past 12 months, did you deliberately damage property that didn't belong to you? So in cell A2, we can see that respondent number 2 has a 0 in that cell. That means that respondent number 2 did not report engaging in that behavior during the last 12 months. Now let's look at column J. The question for column J asks, do you live in a single mother household? For which the respondent can again answer 1, yes, or 0, no. I realize that there are situations where someone might have a single father at home or other more complicated living arrangements. That is unfortunately a data limitation of this data set. You will encounter many such limitations as you work with secondary data. One of the biggest limitations is often not having questions asked in the ideal way you would prefer them to be asked. While these limitations don't prevent us from learning some things about the questions we want to answer, we should be mindful of them and be sure to identify them as limitations in our eventual research product. To finish up the data orientation, column K's question asks if the respondent feels a high level of closeness to their parent or parents or a low level of closeness. Column L is currently blank and is where we will store the information we calculate into our index of delinquency. Looking through the spreadsheet for a moment, we can see that there are 4,695 lines in this spreadsheet. But we do know that the first line is taken up with header information. So we know that we have 4,694 respondents. That'll become relevant as we start to calculate some of the things you need to do for this assignment. There are 3 different Excel tools you could use to answer the questions in this assignment. Those are the sum function, the count function, and the average function. To demonstrate how the sum function works, I'd like to fill in this line for column L, row 2. And in this column, the purpose of it is to sum the total number of types of delinquent behavior that the person responding in this row has committed over the course of the year. Now, this isn't the total number of delinquent acts. This is just the number of different types of delinquency they've engaged in. So let's go to formulas. We'll insert the function sum, and we'll click on insert function. Now, it's helpfully filled in A2 to K2 for us, but we know that columns J and K are not actually delinquent acts, and therefore they shouldn't be included in our summary of delinquency. So we will change K2 to I2 and then hit enter. And so we can see that the function found that they had one type of delinquency they'd engaged in. A quick visual inspection shows us that we agree. They did have one. One of the nice things about Excel is we can click and drag this formula down, and it may take a moment. Okay, and there we go. And now it will copy that down for us. And so you can see when you look at each individual cell, it updated to the row automatically. Okay, and now that we've completed our data manipulation, we should be ready to start answering the questions in the assignment.